Welcome to another webinar Wednesday. Thank you for tuning in today. Please keep in mind, if you do have questions during the presentation, we'll do our best to pass them along to our speaker or answer them directly in the Q&A box below. If we don't get to your question or comment during the presentation, we do apologize, but we'll ensure to ping you in an email after the webinar too. So thank you for questions and comments and your participation. With that, it's a pleasure to welcome our speaker today, Stephen, UNIRAC'S Director of Sales in the Western region, as well as Karen, our moderator. She is UNIRAC's Sales and Marketing Program Manager and all things UNIRAC guru. Before we get started, congratulations to you and your team on the ECOLIBRIUM deal. Very exciting.
Thanks, we're pretty excited about it.
I'm sure it's been a whirlwind, and as we come into the month of August, can you talk about what this will mean for UNIRAC and UNIRAC products?
Absolutely, and Stephen can chime in on this as well, but really we want to make sure that all of our customers, whether they're UNIRAC customers or former ECOLIBRIUM customers, understand that UNIRAC is committed to our one team approach to making sure that we serve you. So we are ready to ship product from both ECOLIBRIUM and UNIRAC, ready to go, not just from our Albuquerque office, but also from Ohio. So yeah, rest assured you will have uninterrupted service from both teams. And within the next 30 days, I would say we're about halfway through integrating systems between the two companies right now. On the administrative end and on the sales leadership end, we're pretty much aligned already, so we're ready to go.
Yeah, really excited about the acquisition. As Karen said, it's one team, and I like to refer to it as one team, all products, because the products that are coming in from ECOLIBRIUM really do add a very good addition to our product portfolio. And there's not really a ton of crossover between the products. There's actually a lot of uniqueness that allows us to fit any project need. So, which is also why I'm excited to show some of that in this presentation today.
Love that. Thank you both for joining us today.
Absolutely.
So if you want, I can go ahead and kick it off. So I want to thank the Soligent team, of course, for putting this on and having us. So it's Jamie and Allison and everyone's always great to work with them, and all the sales reps with Soligent. So really excited to be here. For those that do not know who I am, my smiling face on camera, my smiling face on a slide. So my name is Stephen Lemeron. I'm the Director of Sales for the West region for UNIRAC. So I've been with UNIRAC for the last 6.5 years, but I've been in the energy industry for about the last 13. So came from the utility side, worked on the natural gas side, and actually did a lot of demand generation stuff where we were backstopping solar farms in New Mexico. So it's kind of how I got my interest into solar, and now I'm in the industry and love being in the industry because of what we do. So my background has been in technical sales, sales operations, and project design. I started in Albuquerque with UNIRAC, which is where our corporate HQ is. And then I've been transferred and now live out in Sacramento, California, running the West region for sales. So enjoy what I do, love being out here during these trying times. It's been interesting, but just hope to get out and get to see a lot of you guys. And if there's any questions throughout the presentation, either feel free to throw it into the questions on the Zoom meeting, or just raise your hand and I'll try to address as things are going on. So for this presentation, really one of the big pieces, and with UNIRAC, and I'll get into a little bit of an introduction, is that we really, as a company, are uniquely positioned to help installers partner, scale, and compete in the market. And we do that through really 4 main cornerstones. We do it through our products, we do it through our installation support, and we do it with our services. And from there, it's then getting the product to you and to the customers, and that's where Soligent really comes into play. And being able to get products to you timely when you need them, and the right products in the first place. So with that, we as UNIRAC live by a mantra that we have kind of termed throughout the office: better solar starts here. You've probably heard it or you've seen it on a lot of our social media, things like that. But for UNIRAC, we really do feel like better solar starts with us. We're the racking system. We're the system that is the first thing that typically is going in to support the solar that's going on to a roof, that's going out in a field, that's helping to power irrigation or anything else that's going on. So for us, we feel like better solar starts with us because we're really the foundation of the systems. And when racking is somebody's headache, it's a huge headache. And you really do not want racking to be your headache. You want to be worried about other things. And with that, we feel like we have the better designs, technology, industry-leading warranties, our support beyond just products. And that's why we call this Beyond the Rails, is we are more than just a racking company. We're a company that's here to support our customers in the market and to support our customers even through the most trying times. So a little bit on UNIRAC for those that aren't as familiar with it. So we were founded in 1998 by an installer in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And that's where our headquarters currently is. There's actually a photo of our team from last December, which within that Albuquerque office, we probably have 70 people that live locally and work in that office in our manufacturing facility. And then we have about another 25 employees that are kind of distributed throughout the country in an outside sales role or installer support role. We were the first company to come up with a universal rail design, hence the name UNIRAC. We've outlived our first warranties, so now we're actually, we've gone from 10-year to 15-year to now 25-year warranties. So, and then the most exciting news is, as Jamie kind of already brought up earlier, is we acquired ECOLIBRIUM Solar on July 1st. So really awesome during a time like now, being able to still do an acquisition and to still add products and introduce new products, and I'll show some of those in this presentation, has been really exciting. I think it shows that UNIRAC as a company, we've been able to innovate and we've been able to really help address needs in the market as they've come up. So first off, let's focus a little bit on the product side of things. So how do we and how does UNIRAC's products help installers scale and sustain their growth? And from that, we have kind of three main things. We have high quality racking components. So whenever we have any products that are out in the market, we are really taking into account, does it has the features, the aesthetics, the cost of install, things that make it easier for an installer and for a customer using UNIRAC to know that I'm getting value out of this product rather than it just being something that's the cheapest thing out there or something that just goes on a roof and you got to wonder if it's ever going to stay or if you're going to have to come back and deal with it later on. From a product breadth, we have single sourcing for a full system. So we're a one-stop shop. As I said earlier, with the ECOLIBRIUM acquisition, it's one company, all products. We cover such a wide range of industries and product offerings from pitched roof to flat roof to ballasted to ground mounts. And we're still adding to those portfolios or to that product portfolio to allow even more coverage on the products that we have. And then industry leading innovation. Some of the products I'm actually going to show that we've launched recently have been some of the best products I think out on the market and some of the most popular products, especially with some of the differentiated product launches that we've had here in the last 6 months. And it's pretty interesting and pretty awesome to see how those products have been taken off in the market. So from the UNIRAC side of things, we really have our primary products with SOLARMOUNT, which is up on the top left, Sunframe Micro Rail, which is our railless residential system, our GFT, which is our ground fixed tilt, that's one of our ground mount systems, single post, 2-high and portrait, our ULA system, which is our dual post ground mount system that does up to 6-high and landscape, and then our 3 ballasted offerings between our RM dual tilt, our RM5, and our RM10. So I'll spend a little time going into each of these products a little further just to kind of talk through some of the things here. But in terms of our residential product lines, the 2 main product lines that you see on the residential side are our SOLARMOUNT and our Sunframe Micro Rail Infinity. And the benefit of both of these systems is both of these systems have universal components. Both are one-tool installations, and they're very easy to install, and they've become industry standards when it comes to rail and railless. So on the SOLARMOUNT side of things, we have flush cut ends on our universal series that actually allows a better aesthetic feel to the ray itself. It doesn't make any rails protrude past. We do have clamps that allow that if you want to have installs that have clamps on the rails. But this right here shows the aesthetics that we can actually add to a traditional railed system. We also offer an optional front trim, hides a little bit of the stuff under the array, but also gives that a little bit of a pop. One of the big things for UNIRAC, especially on our residential lines, is we want homeowners to have a showpiece on their roof. We want to be able to show off the modules. We want to be able to show off that solar system that's there, because referrals are a huge thing for installers. So if we have a system that aesthetically someone goes, man, that actually looks pretty good on the roof, where did you guys get your system? That referral for that installer is a big deal, especially in a time right now where you need leads and you need additional sales. Referrals are huge. So having systems that are easy to install, but also are just good looking systems on a roof are really important to UNIRAC. Sunframe Microrail Infinity, so our railless system. So for those that aren't as familiar with railless, instead of using traditional rails to support everything behind the modules, you're actually putting components on the roof to where you're actually allowing the modules to bridge the gaps connection point to connection point. A couple big things to keep in mind when it comes to railless systems is they work like a traditional shared rail system, where you'll have less penetrations on the roof because you're actually not bridging two full rails behind the modules. You're actually one rail in the front, or one set of connections in the front, a set of connections where the two modules come together, another set of connections where two modules come together. So as the array grows on the roof, you're actually limiting the number of connections that a traditional rail system would have. And less connections, less penetrations on a roof also leads to less risk on a roof. It also leads to less time and a speedier and a faster install. So with our residential product lines, there's also a full suite of attachments, which I'll show here in a second. But on SolarMount, you can do everything from comp shingle to roll comp to tile replacements, metal roofs, and even flat roof tilt installs. On our Sunframe Microrail, you can do everything from comp to tile replacements for tile jobs. No tilt on it. There is some additional stuff coming on this side where we're actually going to be adding our FLASHLOCRM technology to SFM Microrail, and that's going to be something that's a game changer for us, because this is already a very fast system to install. It's about to become even faster when we add FLASHLOCRM to it. So really excited to see this, really excited to have that product launch later this year. So really looking forward to that. So on a roof attachment side, so even regardless of the racking that's being used, we have a full suite of roof attachments. Our Flash Kit Pro is a 10-pack, has the flashing, has the L-feet, has the lag with the pre-installed EPDM washer, and then also has the rail hardware in a 10-pack. So simple for an installer on the roof, simple for you in your warehouse, simple to get up there and have peace of mind in terms of a very strong flashing. It actually has our shed and seal technology, so you can kind of see this on here where there's some ribs that are actually in the flashing itself. Those ribs do two things. It allows more strength within the flashing, so if any of the installers have ever installed a flashing and you've seen it kind of potato chip on the sides, there's not enough rigidity in that flashing, and whenever you're potato chipping that, those are entry points for water to actually get into any type of structure. And on that, it also helps when that flashing is going under the shingle. If for whatever reason water is coming onto that flashing, it's actually diverting away from the actual penetration on the roof. So kind of a dual purpose on our flashings, but it's also a full solution in terms of having everything with the hardware, the lags, and the L-foot. So one of the more popular attachments that we're seeing, and something that I know Soligent is selling like Tic Tacs right now, is our FlashLock. So this is our flashless L-foot. Within this, you actually are not using a traditional flashing. You are lagging this connection to a composition shingle roof or a roll comp roof. And even if it can go on TPO, PVC, it can go on any of the membrane materials as well, as long as you're following the Kimling guidelines. But essentially what you're doing is this is an open cavity, and you're filling this with Kimling Duralink 50. And when this is completely full, it seals around the lag, and then it comes out the two exhaust ports to let you know that the full cavity has been sealed. And then it starts curing so that you actually have a full protection on the roof. This is also something we sell in a kit that has all the attachments. It has the lags with the EPDM washer, and it also comes with the chem link so that you're not having to source the chem link separately, and you're also using the right sealant for the flash lock. And then it also has the rail hardware with it as well. We also do tile replacements, so we do S, flat, and W tiles. A lot more rigidity if you're used to using tile hooks, but you get into situations where you need a little bit more strength, a little better loading path to go straight into the structural member. Tile replacements are one of those things that offer that. We also have a lot of installers that are installing on older tile roofs or roofs that have gone through a lot of heat cycles. So getting up there, breaking tiles and trying to go to a boneyard and find replacement tiles is no fun for anybody. And I've seen the yards, and I've also seen the installers' yards where you've got dozens, if not hundreds of different types of tile that are sitting out there. So tile replacements are something that we've seen a lot of installers kind of standardizing to, just to make it a much easier, simpler install and ensuring that you're not causing more damage to the roof. Like I said, everything we provide on attachment sides, we always provide everything with it. So this comes with the base, the adjustment slider for height, the metal flashing, the L-foot, the lag, and the rail hardware. So again, these top three are full attachment solutions that you can use with our system or other systems, as long as they have a slot for the rail hardware. Next is our Pro Series tile hooks. So these are actually our newest version of our tile hooks. They have a power arch that you can see within them. This power arch actually gave us 60% more strength within our hooks. So it allows you to do even greater spans, where sometimes you might have been limited to the traditional flat bar hooks, are limited somewhere in the 4 foot. Sometimes you could do 6 foot, depending on the slope of the roof and depending on loading conditions. For us, we offer a flat tile hook, a universal that can be adjusted, as you can see, these 3 slots, as well as an S tile. And this is actually our extended base S tile. So we also do offer a 9-inch base on our S tile hooks to allow you to cover a rafter a little easier, and also make sure you're not having to make a lot of adjustments or notching shingles as much, or having the arm actually fit into an area where it needs to in order for you to do the install the most effective way. Metal roof attachments, we have a full line of metal roof attachments that do standing seam, corrugated, trapezoidal, R-panel, everything to allow you the full connection from the base of the system all the way to the clamps. So really, really neat. And then our new flat roof attachment, our FLASHLOCRM, I have a slide on this specific, so I'll go show that here in a second. But at least wanted to show that we have at least an attachment option for just about any roof that you come across. And on that residential side and on the rail side, we also have a lot of accessories that are available in the market. So I'll start kind of at the bottom left here. We do have conduit mounts. So our conduit mount is an adjustable conduit mount that comes with the flashing and the deck screw. And it'll have an adjustment to where you can actually fit a 1-inch or 3/4 inch EMT conduit within it on the same ratchet. We are having a slight change to this that actually is going to add even more adjustment into that conduit mount, so you can actually do some larger and some smaller sizes on it. So that'll be a lot more universal in the future here. You can put this on a flashing. We've also seen customers use this and use a T-bolt and put this in the rail slots to allow the conduit to actually run all the way on the actual rail itself. We have our junction box mount. So this is a standard mount that can either go on the rail or it can go onto an L-foot. So with that, you can either hide the junction box under the array, you can have rail run past the module, and you're able to actually put the junction box outside of the array. Or if you just want to actually set it completely separate of the array itself, and you want it to be elevated and it's not an attic run, then you can actually put it on a flashing on an L-foot and have it connect onto that. And this will take up to a 6x6 box. We do have our own junction box, and again, I'll show that, which I think is really unique, and you can use that junction box with this mount, but our junction box has another unique feature to it that I'll show here in a second. On the MLPE side, 2 main things that you can do in terms of adding an optimizer or a microinverter. So we have the T-bolt that goes into the rail that will bond the optimizer to the rail, or we actually have one that's on the modules. So this is actually our MLPE mount that goes onto the module frame, and all you're doing is connecting that MLPE right onto the module frame, and you're usually wire managing straight off of the frame, and then when it goes up to the roof, you're just doing connections, and then you're just plug and go. And then one of the more popular things as of late has been the wire management. Wire management's been one of those things that a lot of the inspectors are getting a lot tougher on passing and failing inspections and final inspections in terms of wires that are hanging down or loose. You need something that at least contains the wires or will ensure that you're not going to lose it or have a dropped wire later on. Zip ties are common within our industry, but the zip ties get brittle over time, and having to send a truck out to go redo something because wire management caused an issue is not fun. So with this, we have our rail tray, which actually runs along the rail channel. So if you have a rail that has a channel similar to ours, we prefer it's on ours, you can use this as a solution to put all of your wire connections, as well as the MC4 connectors actually fit inside of it as well. So that's for that east-west wire management. You also have north-south wire management with our bridge tray. So our bridge tray allows you to actually run some home runs down the system by putting these bridge clips in, and you just snap it right in. And then you have a really sleek, really clean, very well-maintained, managed wire system running on that array. The other thing that a lot of the installers that have started using this are really keen on is that you actually have a lot more wires that are contained inside of something rather than having rodents or things that can actually get under there and start getting into the wires. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more contained, it's a big deal to use that as well. So now our own junction box, which we just launched and we just started shipping this past week. I think some people in particular that we've seen that are on the call have requested samples of this and have seen that this is now out, but this is our SOLOBOX. And it's a very unique junction box. So it features our FLASHLOCK technology. But the biggest thing on this is it's a combo box where it can actually be run as a SOLIDET type of piece where you actually do the attic runs, or you can actually put it off of the rail, or you can put it off of an L-foot, or you can use it under the array. So it's a very slim profile. And with that slim profile, even if you're using one of the thinner modules, you're able to actually put this directly under the array without any issue. And you'll see within here, you actually have room for up to 2 conduit runs. And this area that's in here that's cleared out is actually protected by that FLASHLOCK seal. So once this is fully on the roof and once it's fully installed on the roof, there's an injection port that's here that you would put your M1 or your Kimlink Duralink 50 in, and it would actually fill this entire cavity so that those conduit runs are actually fully protected and fully sealed. And then with that, there's an indicator vent that's on the side. So once the Kimlink actually starts coming out that side, it shows that it's fully, that you have a full seal all the way around the box itself. Really, really neat. We have 2 versions of this, one that has a DIN rail, one that does not have a DIN rail. So for those that prefer using wire nuts, no DIN rails in there. If you need the DIN rail and you need to put a grounding bar, all that stuff, we have those options that are available. This also has a 25-year warranty on it. And like I said, this is available to ship now. We've already gotten our first pallets in, have already started shipping to customers, already have a lot of customers that are very interested in this. And already have a lot of customers that are have already fallen in love with this box.
Hey, Stephen.
Yes.
We had a question earlier about wind speed, and I put a technical document in there regarding FLASHLOCK wind speed. But then William Vasquez just raised his hand, and I don't know, do we want to answer a live question right now, or you want to wait till the end?
We can answer now.
Okay, William, I will unmute you, or ask to unmute, and you can ask your question. Or I can try. Let's see.
Maybe he meant to throw it in the chat box there.
It's all good.
Do we want to address that, though, that question about wind ratings here live? That would be great to speak a little bit more to that.
Karen, do you have that document in front of you?
Yeah, you know, so we have some very robust testing on all of our products, and so I threw up the Intertech Total Quality Assurance testing report done for Miami-Dade, very specifically, which has our TAS 100 testing on there. So anybody who has any questions about it, please, you know, refer to that. Obviously, it depends on your specific needs. Miami-Dade is very robust, And so that's why we went after that testing. So if you have further questions, we'd be happy to put you in touch with our designers and engineers for more details.
Thanks for addressing that live, Karen. Thank you, Stephen.
No problem. So that was the residential side. So now we'll go to more of the commercial side and the ballasted side in particular. So we have our 3 flat roof product lines that are UNIRAC specific. So with that, we have our RM10, which is our 10-degree tilt south facing. With it, it's one of the quickest, fastest, simplest ballasted systems that's on the market. This is one of those systems that any installer that gets their hands on it, they fall in love with it immediately just because it's so quick to install, and it's also so easy to install, especially if you've never done ballasted roof systems in the past. It's 3 components. It's your ballast bay, it's your clip, and it's a bolt. That's it. We also do offer optional roof pads that come with it. Sometimes on certain roof surfaces where you need a little bit more friction, those roof pads are required. On other roof surfaces, we have customers that use those roof pads 100% because the roof manufacturer will also allow those to sub as a slip sheet. So that's on a project by project basis, but we have seen a lot of projects go through where our roof pads are actually something that get used as slip sheets, and you don't have to separately buy slip sheets for the system. So we have our RM5, which is our 5-degree south facing. So with this, RM10 is going to give you a good module yield or a better module yield. But if you need to get more density on your roof and a little bit more power and you need to add modules, RM5 is really the next option down because you're still going to be south facing. You get a little bit less module yield than RM10, but you still get very good production. With that, we have 2 spacing options on the bay itself. So from an installability standpoint and from a standpoint of going to density, you have an 11-inch spacing. For someone that needs to get even more modules onto the roof, we have a much more condensed spacing, which is a 7.5-inch spacing. So really allows you to fit the geometry of the arrays and fit whatever you need on the roof between those 2 systems. And then on it, it's a stamped steel. It's G235, which is marine grade. So other steel systems that are on the roof, one of the concerns that a lot of people bring up is it's steel. I don't want steel on the roof. Steel corrodes. On our system, we go to the max essentially in terms of the galvanization that we can put on the steel from a cold roll perspective. And with that, it allows a lot of corrosion protection. And with that, our competitors, I think, do a G90 or a G180 at the most. So very, very good from a corrosion standpoint, and also something that stacks and is very dense. So from a logistics standpoint and from a standpoint of kind of presetting things on the roof, very easy to do that with how it's palletized and how things come. The next system we have is our RM dual tilt. This is our east-west ballasted system. So this is really our most dense. So where I can get probably 70% ground coverage ratio on our RM10, and we can get upwards of 85% on the RM5, you can get upwards of 90% on our RM dual tilt. So if you're really sitting there and you need to get everything on the roof and you need to maximize the amount of power on a roof, this system is the best solution for that. With it, you also have a very simple installation. It has peak bays and valley bays. We have a 1-inch gap at the top where the modules peak. And at the bottom, we actually put an 8-inch gap so that you still have access in and out of the array. One of the bigger issues that a lot of the installers have on east-west systems is a lot of the east-west systems have no spacing for you to get into the array if you need to go in and reconnect something, if you need to do any maintenance on a module. And you'll see installers walking on modules, which is something that we just do not want to see. So we've always put in a gap that's in there so that you can still get access in and out of the arrays without any issue. And with that, we now have the ECOLIBRIUM products that have just added even more to our product portfolio. So where our systems were metal systems, we now have injection molded systems with ECOLIBRIUM on their ballasted side. So you have your EcoFoot 2+, which allows you to do 10-degree tilt and landscape. But then if you want, and you have very narrow buildings and you have to fit as many modules on these narrow south-facing buildings, you can actually move the bay, you can move the module to portrait, and it's a 5-degree tilt system on that same exact bay, which is so cool because it's something where you have the adaptability with all the same components, where you have certain areas where you might be 10-degree, other areas where you might be 5-degree, but you're using the same components and you're maximizing the roof space to still get as much module yield as possible. You have the EcoFoot 5D, which is a tighter system for density, 5-degree tilt in landscape, and with it, just a really strong system, a lot of load sharing, something that's also very, has a lot of installability as well. One of the products that I think I'm most excited about and been most excited about with this acquisition has been the Metal X. We come across a lot of metal commercial projects, so metal roof commercial projects. And one of those things, and one of the things we always hear when it comes to installing on metal roofs, is the connections to metal roofs are always so difficult to sometimes place, but then also you have to add racking to it and you have to kind of do everything else with it. Metal X is an all-in-one component where essentially the racking is built into the roof connection. So as you're installing on these metal roofs, and you can see one of these points here, this standing seam has the standing seam clamp on it already, and on top of that standing seam clamp is also a railless module clamp. So as you build this up, you can build on metal roofs at a very cost-effective and a very, very quick fashion. So really excited about the Metal X. EcoX Universal is another railless option that ECOLIBRIUM also has. This is, again, you can do modules in portrait and landscape. You can maximize roof on residential systems. So EcoX, really cool system. On the accessory side of things, this is one of those things that we've been working on as UNIRAC, and now that we have ECOLIBRIUM, this is something that we have in our portfolio right away now, and that's the string inverter and the inverter mounts for commercial projects. It's a request we get all the time is hey, I'm using your racking, but I need something to mount the inverter to. With ECOLIBRIUM, we have the Eco Mount that actually is all in one box. If anyone's ever had to put together a BinTech inverter mount or any of the other competing inverter mounts, they are not a fun thing to put together on the roof. So having this mount and using a lot of the same components that we already have with the EcoFoot 2+ system, it's just really, really neat. And it's something you could put on any of your commercial flat roof projects right away. And then also wireman. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. You have another question, and I think this is something you'd want to answer right away. It's from Chris Hamilton, and he's asking if it is a similar SPA process with the new Eco for commercial projects.
Chris, you and I can talk later. But yes, we'll say yes. So, but yeah, on that stuff, any commercial projects, let's work with your Soligent account reps, and they'll work with us so that we can ensure that you're getting the most competitive and best price. So that's how I'll answer that the best way I can. But good to see you on, Chris. So should have known Chris would be on. So on the commercial side too, and even on some of the residential side, one of the big things that we've seen in the market is you need a roof attachment on these flat roofs where maybe you need to go into the decking, you can't get into the structural member. You have just these different capacities where just a traditional standoff or even just trying to lag L feet into the roof is just not going to work. So we are extremely excited about this product, and it's a product that we had our first pallet come into Albuquerque, and the day it came into Albuquerque, it sold out. So we've been just continually replenishing and moving this out the door. But this is our new flat roof attachment, FLASHLOCRM. So with this, it's an attachment that can be used with any of the ballasted systems out there. It also can be used as the attachment point for any railed system. So if you want to do tilt ups, if you want to do any type of railed system off of a roof decking or any decking where you maybe don't have access to structural members, or even if you do have access to structural members, it's a very simple install. The biggest benefit with the FLASHLOCRM is there's no heat welding or membrane attachment that you need to worry about. And that's usually one of the biggest issues, especially on commercial projects where you have to hire a roofer, have somebody come out that is qualified to actually put those membranes on in order to not invalidate the roof warranty. And we as UNIRAC have also gone out and gotten a lot of roof warranty letters already from roof manufacturers to ensure that that's not an issue. People like GAF, Firestone, Genflex, John Mansville, and even some of the ones that you just have to put in a project request and they'll go ahead and just give you a certification. So really excited about this. It's powder coated cast aluminum. You see on here, it's got kind of a hub to it. And actually, let me grab one because I can show it. Give me one sec.
While Stephen Lemron, excuse me, I call him Lemron just because it's easier. Too many Stevens. While he's getting that, I just want to say we have sort of a saying inside here, and that's 0 membranes, 1 SKU. So
Yeah.
you're not going to have to guess, right? So you can just order the 1 SKU, and it's going to fit every flat roof attachment application.
Yeah, so this is the actual flat roof attachment. So essentially, you can see the 8 spokes that are in here. They're all numbered. You can't really see it on the camera, but you can see it in the slide that they're numbered in kind of an offset pattern, almost in a star, just like you would do for a hubcap, essentially to ensure that you're not over torquing one side and you have one side lifting up while the other side is not secure. So other thing here is our ultimate uplift capacity on this is 6,670 pounds. So it's going to be one of the strongest roof attachments in the market. And it's something where it can take 2, 4, 6, or 8 fasteners. We will say on that is left up to the engineer, because sometimes you have to have the engineer look at what the decking material is to understand, can you use just deck fasteners? If you're going into certain roofs that have foam in between, you might have to have longer lags, or you might have to have something that's longer that reaches down into the actual decking. So we leave that up to the structural engineer or the engineer of record to come up with what the right fastener is. This will come with the 1-part Kim link. So here's the install process. Essentially, you would take your M1 on the roof, you would put a bead all the way around the edge, set it where you need to, and you can see there's alignment marks that are actually on the east, west, and north, south of the piece. So you can actually set it where you need to. You would put the fasteners that are recommended. It can accommodate number 12 to number 15 fasteners. And then from there, we include the 1-part with the actual piece. So you would pour the 1-part once the fasteners are in, very similar to how a Kim curve works. And then it says it's an optional plate that's coming with it. We actually decided at the last minute to just include that. So you'll also have a plate that can go on top of the actual attachment so that it seals everything inside. And then we also supply the bolt for the actual attachment. So if you're attaching an L-foot to it, if you're attaching a tilt leg to it, if you're attaching or going through a piece of strut, you have a bolt and a washer that's already there so that you can go ahead and don't have to worry about sourcing what's the right connection to actually use this attachment. So we've talked a lot about products, but this is beyond the rails. So what's beyond the rails with UNIRAC? Well, the biggest thing is probably our installation support and what we can do in the field. So we have a network of regional installer sales specialists. If any of you have been lucky enough to work with any of our installer sales specialists, these are like the rock stars of our company. And I'll show a picture of them here in a second and kind of go through them. We also have very robust training and training materials. Our website has a slew of information on it, and then also our YouTube channel is something that I think is really important for installers to see, because our YouTube channel has a bunch of tips and tricks, a bunch of things that you can actually be up on a roof and you have a question and you can actually find a video that's specific to that question, and you don't even have to worry about picking up the phone and calling somebody on it. And then one of the other things that we're actually just about to roll out, and Karen and I have been intimately involved in, is our master installer program, which is focused on really getting in with the installer and having them be very proficient with our system while providing the training aids and everything else that they need to do it. So with that, this is our installer sales specialist team. So it's 7 guys that have over 50 years of combined experience. They've done over 10,000 installs as a group. It's probably even a lot more than that after we started adding this up. They do lead trainer and operational support. They have safety experience, including fall protection, OSHA training, industry best practices. We do have 2 bilingual trainers that are on staff too, that are English-Spanish speakers. And then we also just have a very diverse background. So these individuals have come from very different parts of the solar industry, but all of them have experience as a crew lead. We have several that were O&M and QA people. We have operations managers, commercial project managers, some that were also certified electricians. So the thing to take away from this, and the thing to take away when you are looking at UNIRAC or considering UNIRAC, and one of those hurdles that you come across is, yeah, but I just don't know if my crew is going to be able to just take it on, and I don't know if I'm using rail and I'm thinking railless, but it's like, man, my crews are so used to rail, I don't know about going to railless. These are the guys that are in the field that are there to do install support and to give our best foot forward when it comes to how to do best practices, how to show how to use our products. Any of the issues or questions that come up, they can answer them in real time. So it's a team that's out there that's for the installers. So as you have needs, if you have something where you're like, I'd really like to try UNIRAC out, but I really want someone to help kind of on an install side and really make sure that we're getting off on the right foot, they're there for you on that. So if you have any questions there, like I said, get with your Soligent account manager. They can always get with us to do those requests, and we'll ensure that we get you guys taken care of. So as I said, detailed brochures and technical support. So on our website, if you hit our technical support tab, there's everything at your fingertips in terms of installation guides, product brochures, product details, our engineering and certification letters, testing reports that you might need for UL 2703, fire testing, things of that nature. So if you have any of those questions or you need any documents, go to our technical support page. That is usually and it's typically the easiest means of doing that. In terms of the other side of things, I would say if you've not been to our YouTube channel and it's been a while, please go to our YouTube channel. It's one of those things right now that the content that we're releasing, as well as a lot of the products that we're releasing, there's a lot of good feedback and a lot of good tips and tricks on our actual YouTube channel that you can just go straight on there and you can see right away how to use our product, what's the best way to use our product. If it's a brand new product, what does that product do? Why is it important? Things of that nature. So it's really neat. A lot of those videos have been filmed by our ISS team. And if there's a video that is not on there, or if there's something where you need support or you just don't see where it's being answered, let us know and we'll put something together for you. Because we also have a full training roof back in Albuquerque that we can do all this stuff on as well. So outside of having field support, we then also have a lot of the back office support as well. And with that, we have our design and UBuilder software. So as of this morning, Karen, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, we actually just implemented a single sign-on for all UNIRAC things coming forward. So if you're using our UBuilder, if you're going to be using some of our training platforms, including the Certified Installer Program and Master Installer Program and some of the stuff coming forward, we're going to have one UNIRAC global sign-in that covers everything, which is actually really cool. So you don't have to set up several passwords and password access to different things.
Yep, it went live today, except all we have on it right now is primarily giving you access to UBuilder, and if you are a certified installer, it'll give you access to that. But apart from that, it's a work in progress, and we hope to have more information on it. Watch our social media channels. We'll probably make some announcements there.
Awesome. Yeah, that was the other one. Even with the YouTube, our social media, if you're not on our Instagram is something worth following, because a lot of our ISSs, as well as us, we put out a lot of good content, especially on our Instagram page. And Karen, what is our Instagram? Since you have that stuff right
at UNIRAC Solar.
Okay. And UNIRAC Solar is also the YouTube channel. So commercial project support. So a lot of the commercial projects that are out there right now, one of the bigger things is you need a lot of help in order to do designs, takeoffs, engineering, plan sets, all that type of stuff. So I'll get into that here in a second, because I actually have some slides that are specific to it. But that is something that we do. We have a very robust team when it comes to that, and adding ECOLIBRIUM has only increased that capability. Our certified installer program, I have a slide on that. I'll actually have Karen talk about that here in a second when we get to it. And then co-branded marketing. We do this both for the homeowners and for the distributors. So we've got video content on our FlashKit Pro, so we can make that specific to an installer. So if you want your call to action and want to add some of your stuff to it, we can easily do that. We also are working on even more co-branded material as part of our certified installer program, as well as some other video content that we would be able to share with teams. As things are becoming more virtual, you need more virtual aids in order to show things. So that's something that we can help with specifically. So from the commercial side of things, so we have that full commercial support. As I mentioned, we can do everything from system layout and engineering to roof attachment design. So if we need to do a full-on design with our new FLASHLOCRM attachment, we do have that capability internally to be able to do that. We also can do product selection support. We've had several customers that have come in saying, here's the roof that I have, what's the best option? And with our full product portfolio, we can look at rail, we can look at ballast, we can look at tilt systems, we could do a little bit of everything. So we have that capability of actually picking and choosing and figuring out a way to specifically select and pick a product that's best for that application. We also do revisions at no cost. So you give us a design today, and next week that design completely changes and you ask us to do another construction drawing set, there's no fee for us to go back in and redo that set. So we know with a lot of commercial companies and a lot of our commercial competitors, once they give you a design on a project and you come back and change that project, there's a $100 fee. Depending on the size, it could be upwards of $1,000 fee, just depends on what that is. And then we also offer PE stamped engineering and drawings for an additional fee. And again, that's something where if you need the full project support all the way to the stamped engineering, we can work with our engineering partners that we've negotiated best pricing with in order to provide those engineering stamps. So typical turnaround times on our commercial, and this is worst case scenario typically, so that's why this is here. But it also shows a lot of what we can do. So if you need the bill of materials, the quote, engineering report, a ballast map, PE letters, that's all stuff that's within 2 days, if not 24 hours. If you need to get a layout creation, typically that's 2 to 3 days, just because we're going to look at what the best thing is and the best product is for that site. So there might be some multiple iterations that we go through. For the construction drawings, that can take up to 5 days. It typically is 3. It just depends on the complexity of a project. So we'll see. I did see that there's a question on the PE stamps just for the US. We do have some capability for outside of the US, just depends specifically where you're asking about. Site-specific PE stamp drawings and engineering report, as that question goes. We work with multiple engineering firms. One of the firms we know has a stamp for all 50 states, and then there's also for the Caribbean has several stamps. I have to think on Canada, we also have the ability to stamp for Canada with one of the engineering firms. So there's a lot that is there in terms of outside the US as well. And then Karen, did you want to touch on the CIP?
Absolutely. So we launched the Certified Installer Program last year, right at SPI, and well, we're super excited about this program. But what it is really helping us really build a deeper relationship with our installers. Access to customized training, and I think Stephen has talked a little bit about some of our customized training programs, but we're also offering customized marketing support, sales support. We have one installer that requested homeowner tools, and we customized it just for them. In fact, we're shipping them out this next week. So, it's not the sky's the limit, but it really does enable us to build a better relationship with you, our installers out there in the field. So I encourage you, if you're an installer of UNIRAC products now, please apply and see if you qualify for the program. It'd be very cool.
And Karen, what would that look like if I'm completely new to UNIRAC? Like I've never picked up a UNIRAC product. What would you recommend me do? What's the first step?
I would say the first step would be to definitely fill out the form right away. And obviously, Kelsey Cunningham will give you a call back. You'll actually have a single point of contact. And we'll walk you through, what it would take for you to become certified, right? Because there are separate, different levels. And we will show you the path forward. So we'll put you in touch with the ISS in your region. We'll train you on the products. We'll make sure that you get all the support that helps you grow to that level so that you become certified with us. So yeah, I would encourage you, even if you're not an installer of UNIRAC right now, sign up, and then we'll help walk you through the whole process.
Love that.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't need to be part of, certified installer program to get the ISS support, but I would say if you're installing UNIRAC, you want to be part of the certified installer program, because it's a good little community, and there's also we've seen a lot of our installers that really use this as a selling point too, because homeowners really value seeing that somebody's taking pride in what they're putting onto their roof.
Yeah, and we've built some really great industry partnerships as well. And Stephen touched on it really briefly, but we have this master installer program. And the way I look at it is it's two sides of the same coin, where the certified installer program is really for the company. It's very company focused and company based. But the MIP program, which is the master installer program, is very individual based. So anybody inside of an installation company who would like to become master installer can take that program. So when that launches, we're super excited about that too, because it'll travel with you, right? So no matter where you go inside your company or to another company, different side of the country, you can get that certification and it's yours. So
very cool. So lastly, that fourth corner of kind of everything that we're doing beyond the rails is supply. So you need to have a robust and responsive supply chain. For UNIRAC, we've got a very diversified international and domestic supply chain, which has allowed us to offer very competitive pricing in the market to our distributors, which allows them to offer it to our installers. But it also allows us to have industry-leading lead times. At this point, I think even through COVID and even before COVID, we were averaging 6 days lead time, which is pretty unheard of within the solar industry, especially in the manufacturing space. We also have the ability to ramp our supply chain probably faster than anybody out there. So even bringing on a new customer, large customer, something that comes over that we have to ramp extremely fast, we have the ability to actually ramp our supply chain without any interruptions to our supply chain. And then of course our nationwide presence and availability through Soligent's distribution network. It's great to know that when a customer comes and they're like, hey, I need to get a product, and the Soligent sales rep can go, yeah, we have it already in one of the warehouses that we can pull and you guys can get it right away. So we work very closely with them, and it's something that I think is just really awesome to partner and work with. So as you have questions, as you need things, feel free to reach out to your Soligent rep or to me or our counterparts that are throughout the country. I do have a map that I can show a little bit later that has where our sales reps are, but honestly, it's in the appendix. I can provide that later for everybody. But with that, I appreciate everybody's time. And if there's any other questions, happy to kind of stick around here for the last 8 to 10 minutes.
There were two questions that I answered, just direct questions. I want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to see that. So we were asked, when is ULA and the tilt-like system ever going to be on UBuilder? And tilt-like systems are a longer conversation. It's actually, but ULA is on there now. So if you go to UBuilder now, you can actually design your project for ULA on there now. So that's very cool. It actually launched last week. I think we worked all the bugs out. So try it.
Yeah, and the tilt leg thing is actually a work in progress. We actually do have a path on that one. So it's very specific when it comes to the 716 engineering. So that's one of the reasons it's not on there. But it is coming.
And then Mark asked a question regarding avoiding of roofing materials and warranties with FLASHLOC technology. And what I answered was that the majority of the major roofing manufacturers have already given us letters, and there are some that are looking at it on a project by project basis, but the large manufacturers have already approved it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've already got the letters from GAF, from Firestone, John Mansville, Genflex. So I mean, we've got majority of the major manufacturers, and I think some of the other ones were just as we're seeing other roofing manufacturers that companies are coming across that they want to have those letters. We've just been reaching out, and some of them are project specific, just because they want to make sure that they know what roof type is actually up there versus just a global letter. But for the most part, we haven't run into many issues there.
I did want to add one other thing, and I'm happy to send it in the chat as well. So we did, actually I can't send it in the chat yet, but keep an eye out. we can do a follow-up, but we actually did a webinar last week with Chemlink, who is the manufacturer of the adhesive, and it was very eye-opening. And I would say it's something that you should watch if you're going to be using either FlashLock or FlashLoCRM, which is our new product that just came out.